today the idea is to put into practice what we have learned so far, and to comment your works together with Isabella and discuss together maybe some weaknesses or some strengths of what you have done with the exercise, and to recap as well what we have said and covered during these training sessions. So thank you very much. I would leave the room to Isabella.
Good morning, everybody. This is our last lesson, and it's something more practical to thank you for your attention and your to have been part of this course. I hope it will be useful to your activities, and you have learned something practical and useful. If you have any further question, also in following days, you can write me, of course, or write to Chiara, and for anything. So I'm at your disposal. I've read your document you have sent to us, and after this lesson, I will send you back with some feedback and some reflection and tips, but we can discuss them together right now. First of all, I want to say that I'm really pleased by your exercise, because they're very good, and they are full of inspiration. There are some very good ideas, for example, about columns that have hit my attention, like, for example, the practical guide to infos for the community, or the sparring stories of leaders. I think they could really work well and make the difference online in the outcomes. So also the editorial plan were very, very good, and show how you have deeply understood how to differentiate the editorial plan, to not overpost during one day, and to be constant during the week for the explanation. And now I will share my screen to show, for example, some example of works. Okay, for example, let's look together to this work, which I found really good. The first post was about a training course the association will be host. It is really good written. For example, what works very well in this post? The use of the first plural person. We start at 9 a.m. It gives very clear and simple information about the course, where it will be placed, at what time, where and when. And then it gives also practical infos like address and contact number. It's really good. A little tip to improve, for example, this kind of post, it would be to open the post with a strong statement. For example, I don't know, a quote, or a more emotional engage with the community. For example, talking about, for example, here it is a really strong game, which is about what the course is about. Through this training, you will deepen the knowledge of cultural and religion diversity, the nature of dialogue, and explore why the search of meaning of youth is crucial to understand while working with vulnerable groups of youth. For example, this kind of statement, we can move it to the top of the post and making it more simple. For example, with a direct question, do you want to deepen the knowledge on cultural and religious diversity? Question mark. We will explore the nature of dialogue and why, and the search of meaning of youth. For example, to understand the work with the vulnerable groups of youth, for example, and then make a space. Go ahead with another paragraph and say, Mitra Friends is hosting a training course in Nice on the 5th of October. So In the open, we grab the attention of the user with a strong statement, with directly explaining what we are talking about. Don't be ashamed of being very direct and to speak loud what you mean to, because for example, we decide if we are interested in a digital content in the first 10 seconds we see it. 10 seconds are very few time to decide if we are interested or not. So the first phrase we see is very important. So my advice could be to make a short first phrase more engaging. Example, a direct question, a quote, for example, an inspiring quote, or a strong statement with strong words, no? Like this one, deepen the knowledge of cultural, religious diversities. It's very strong. We can put it on the top of the post. Well, then we can see the description. I know that it was a little bit mean from myself to ask you to write a description of your organization, because it's very difficult to write in a few words your entire work, to describe in few words your entire work and your passion and all your aims. It's very difficult. It's more easy for an external person like me to write it, and I know that, but it's a really good exercise to do. Here we see a really good description. I really like this post. What works very well, it's for example, the phrases that are short and they are very clear. The words are very clear, and I really appreciate the use of powerful short words like diversity, inclusion, local communities, unemployed youth, women. Well, this post addressed directly the target. This is very, very, very good. A suggestion about the long description for the online social media, because we are not talking about a description that you will use, for example, for your website. So the language is different. I suggest you to use the we when you talk, because an organization is made by people and you are the greater value of your organization. And sometimes when you, in particular, you work or you want to be part of organization, it's because you want to feel part of something, because you feel you don't want to feel alone, or you want concrete help, and the sense of identity is very important. And it could be seems stupid to say, but the we and talk as a we immediately establish a connection with the user, which could feel part of something. So my advice for social media is to use the we. And for example, I made here an example of how to write it, to rewrite it without changing anything in meanings. And so, okay. For example, it could be, we believe in a youth aware of their role in society with instill skills to act in a positive and constructive way. As you can say, I just write the same thing. The same thing you have write. It's just switch it when the first plural person, because it's what you say, that you believe in them. And it's very strong to start a statement saying, I believe in you, because it's maybe it's the inner emotion, the inner value that people who needs you is looking for. And then we aims to foster intercultural understanding for responsiveness to social, ethnic, linguistic, and cultural diversity. Here I didn't change anything because it was perfect. As you write it, it was perfect. It really worked very well. And then Mitra helps people to build an understanding of the role of art and creativity in society. We aspire to transformation. Then it was perfect. So what I did, we start with we, and we start with a statement. We believe in you. Yes. And then we use another way. We use a very strong phrase. It is, there is the word, no? Because we talk about youth. No, that youth that it instill skills to act in a positive and constructive way. There is our word, no? So we believe in them because they are the future of our community. And then I use again the we, but switching in a more formal and institutional speech. So we aim to foster intercultural understanding and responsiveness to social, ethnic. It was perfect, this part, and I left it like that. And then we switch with Mutual Friends develops innovative. So we make a path, and we start from the we, what we believe in, and the path was from the vision to the mission. And so we have create, in a few words, a little path between what we believe in and what we do for that. All right. Okay. Also, it was for example, here Mitra made a very good exercise, but then it rewrites its statement in a shorter post. I really appreciate that. It was very, very good. For example, I suggest to trying to avoid an impersonal language, because on social media it doesn't work very well. We love stories, and we love stories of people, even if we are talking about institution or organization or association. And what does it mean? It doesn't mean that you have to invent stories. It means that you have to speak in your words, and you are accountable for what you do. So try to you are writing in a very directly way as Mitra Friends, because on social media there is the logo of your association and there is the name of your association. So it's clear that who is speaking is Mitra Friends and not, I don't know, Isabella, no? So try to establish a contact, writing, for example, with we, no? As you say, as you did here, we create awareness among the youth. Okay, so to start with this kind of affirmation and not with Mitra Friends aims to foster, because it could be sounds a little bit heavy to people who read it, because you have to understand that maybe your user are not a knowledge as you to some topics, maybe have not your formation or the same cultural grade of understanding. So if we make it easy, we are speaking for everyone, and I think it's the most important thing we can do. Was the post of Ramadan, which was about a sharing. Well, it was good, it works well. As we can say, for example, in another work, it could be interesting also to share something more participated. For example, if you, as an association, if you participate, you take part to a particular event for the end of Ramadan, or another group, we will say later, has imagined, of course, that there is the coronavirus, so it was not possible to properly celebrate the end of Ramadan, and so they give they talk about that. It was a really good point, for example, really good inventive. Let's try to remember that it's important to give something. Okay, it seems a simple advice, but it really works. If we give something to people, a real content, it could be anything, a story, an advice, a tip, or just our point of view on something, it will be more interesting, more engaging to people. Okay, or it works, of course, also just to cheer and to send greetings, and then it would be useful to create, for example, a more compelling graphic. And here, the masterpiece of this editorial plan, the part I preferred most, it was here. It was about the post for the sharing of offline event. And it was really good because it was very handily, and it was very warm without losing an institutional approach. So it was about year whole. We are happy to invite you to attend the Islamic debate of human rights event that will be held, and this information. During this debate, we will examine the issue by considering question of religion, human rights, and then say about the important guest work part, to reflect on political, and then is the masterpiece. Please register by filling this form. Really good because it's also useful to do lead generation, and what you just do with filling the form. For example, offline events could be useful to do lead generation. What is lead generation? Lead generation is to collect data, for example, email address, phone numbers, data about the social demographics, infos of your attendees, for example, and maybe to ask them to subscribe to your newsletter, for example. So lead generation is to collect prospect user, so people who maybe are not already part of your association, but they could be, because they are interested and they have took part to your event, or just to collect data of people who are part of your organization and you don't already have their emails, for example. So a really good advice I can give to you, inspired by this editorial plan, is, for example, if you do offline event, to use, for example, Event Tribe application. Event Tribe is a tool that you can use online to register to event, and you also have the opportunity to attack Event Tribe to Facebook, so to event. So when you register to Facebook event, you directly be registered on Event Tribe. There is a link, it's very easy. You will find it in info. So when you create Event Tribe will ask you, do you want to connect your Event Tribe with a Facebook event? Yes, of course. Yes, we want. Because then you can ask some information to people who are registering to your event. For example, the email, it could be very, very useful, and things you are carrying of. Also for research question, for example, for me, it could be interesting to know how old the attendees are, and maybe which part of region they are from. Could be an interesting question for deciding, for example, where to take the event place, or where to organize another activity. Because if you say that your organization particularly involved a specific part of local community, Islamic community, it could be interesting to work in that area, for example, if you decide to organize something. So data could inspire us. And so it was, okay. Let's see another. So here we can see an introduction of what is the association about. It was a really, really good sentiment. Maybe it was the best statement of this exercise, because it starts with a direct questions, and it's incredibly directly involved people who are reading this, because it starts with, in Italy, there are about 2,000 asylum seekers, refugees, and unaccompanied minors. But who takes care of their integration? It's really dramatic. Dramatic really works well in communication. With drama, I don't refer to fear or hate emotions. You can be dramatic also with good, positive emotions like hope and happiness and joyful and efforts and pride, for example. So it's a very drama. It point out a problem and then give a solution, and it's a really smart way to interact with people. And so Programma Integra is a social cooperative born in Rome in 2005. Our aim is to implement and support plans for the social integration of migrants and refugees in order to promote the startup of sustainable and durable processes of autonomy, and to contribute to the welfare of and the development of the community. And then there is about the centrality. And then there is the website. So if you want to know more, go to the website. It is another good, another really good part of this post. So you will find many updates. And so then is another good, when you give a link, or you ask the user to do a step forward, you go outside and do another thing, it could be useful to say to them what they will find inside of that, because they will immediately decide if they are interested, or maybe you can persuade them to go there. So you will find many updates on international protection, immigration laws in Italy, and all free training opportunities for migrants. It was really good. If I have to just be a very perfectionist, you could continue to use the we, our aim, our work, and then it says, for example, we believe in 4 main values: centrality of person, because it immediately change the approach. It's about vision, and it becomes less institutional and more emotional. So about the Ramadan, for example, here there is a really interesting thing, which was about to say that, of course, this year it will be not possible to celebrate the end of Ramadan through the world because of the health emergency caused by COVID-19. This was a really good intuition. For example, a good tips, it could be, you could give any suggestion to people who due to coronavirus can celebrate its end. You can give suggestions, for example, to celebrate it in their houses, or with an online approach together with another digital platform. Or maybe you can share a speech of a religious leader that can inspire this important moment during the lockdown. And so that's the difference between to be a stakeholder of your community, because then it becomes more interesting to follow your social media, because you are not just useful, you are inspirational. You can show the path about integration and about a new way to live our beliefs. Let's see. This is about the event. So about the offline event, it's about Islamic debate on human rights. It was really good because it gives immediately infos and it uses very good words, very impactful words. Maybe if we want to do a step forward to reflect more and just to give you an advice and to help you to improve, we can start with the quote you have mentioned, because this post was particularly good because there is a quote of a speaker which words are very strong and very inspired. So an idea could be to start the post with them. So what I did, I just moved things. I didn't rewrite it for real. I just moved things for show you how they could work different. Let's read together the first one. Let's notice the difference. The first one was, the event entitled Islamic Debate on Human Rights has took place today in Rome at Spazio Europa, the headquarters of the EU Commission representation in Italy. Among the speakers, there was the sociologist Rami Hyde, who presented his last book and gave all participants a lucid and accurate analysis of human rights and Islam. We thank him for his inspiring words. Islamic countries are culturally distinct from the rest of the world. This discourse directly contradicts the universality of Islamic values. There is nothing in Islamic law that prevents human rights. The global citizens must fight every day so that there is no racist differentiation based on religion. This is one of the greatest challenges of this society. Many thanks to Religion for Peace Rome for organizing this event. So we have a very, very strong quote, very inspiring. So that's how I move. Islamic indirectly. So you see a post. Islamic countries are culturally distinct from the rest of the world, said the sociologist Rami Hyde, who presented his last book and gave all participants a lucid and accurate analysis on human rights and Islam. His words were inspiring. This discourse directly contradicts the universality of Islamic values. There is nothing in Islamic law that prevents human rights. The global citizens must fight every day so that there is no racist differentiation based on religion. This is one of the greatest challenges of this society. And then space. Hyde was one of the speakers of the event entitled Islamic Debate on Human Rights, that took place today in Rome at Spazio Europa, the headquarters of the EU Commission representation in Italy. We also want to thank to Religions for Peace Rome for organizing this event. We immediately grabbed the attention about the quotes, the sparring quotes, and then we post about the infos, which are, we can say that are more boring. Is the head of the quote and of the story about what the event was about. By then, when we talk about a successful event, we can also made at the end of the post a call to action. Say to user, "Oh, do you like that?" Not like that, of course. It was about if you want to know more, if you want to discover more about our events and our workshop and our debates. Let's check out our newsletter or our website, or just follow us, on social media. So to make a call to action. Another very simple but effective rule of social media is that if you don't ask anything, nothing will happen. And don't be afraid to ask directly user to do things, because they will do that. Sometimes you just don't know what you are supposed to do. It seems strange, but it works. So never forget to ask directly people, for example, to subscribe to your newsletter or to visit the website, especially after a content, no? I give you a content, no? I give you a story, and then I ask you to do something for me. Here it was about the column. Okay, one of the columns that Integra has imagined was about ideas in action, which was a section about interviews. No, so it's about sharing the most of the history, the story of the Association of Refugees Welcome Italia, and it's about little short interviews. It is a really good idea because from one hand you offer a real content to your community. On the other hand, you do stakeholder engagement with other associations like you. So it's really useful also for your external relation, institutional relation. One tip, interviews are great if they are short. So if you make a video interview, be sure that the video will be no longer than 1 minute for social media, for Instagram and Facebook. Then of course, if you want to go in deep, you can also create a more complex content with a more long video that maybe you can share with your newsletter on your website. So you make a short video of 1 minute. It's very important with subtitles. Always remember to add the subtitles because the 80% of users don't switch on the volume of videos on social media. So subtitles are very important for the more engaging. So post a short video of 1 minute with subtitles on Facebook and Instagram, and then you can say, if you like that and you want to know more, you can go on our website. So you made also traffic on your website, and you improve your SEO and your engagement. And then the other column was about the expert advice. It was interesting. So it was about that. It was a really, really good idea. This in particular, I really like for your exercise Integra, because it's really practical, it's simple, and it's easy to replicate. One of the most important things when we create a column is to think about the simplicity to replicate the column in the time, because sometimes you will not have so much time to dedicate to that, because of course I know that you have many work to do. So sometimes to have a column that is really easy to do, it's important. And another thing very good of this type of column is that ask for an interaction. So it's not just providing help, it's about a more complex relation with your community, because you are asking help and then providing information. So it will be also good to have stories of your community. You could be in a very practical way. You can use digital media to do your aim as an association. So do you have doubts? So it was another thing interesting is that you can change every time the theme, for example, this column of the expert answer. So this time it was about the residence permit. So do you have doubts about the renewal of the residence permit? Do you want to reunite with a family member, but you don't know where to start? Very good, the approach with the direct questions. So you immediately know, I need it or I don't need it. This and other questions will be answered by our lawyer as part of the initiative, the expert answer, promoted by Programma Integra at Municipality of Rome. Write your question commenting on our post or by messenger or writing us an email. It was perfect. because you are asking to do directly an action, and they can, it would be great if you start to use social media for that. So with direct messages and comments, people ask you for info and approach, and you could set a post where the expert write down the answer. And also you can, for example, you can organize with the expert to be online, for example, for a 1 day, and say, so he or she can answers to them directly when they're writing immediately, and so the engagement would be higher. And so what's another? And then La Jolla. I was really impressed by the columns and the ideas of La Jolla, which were particularly creative and interesting. So, the first column, it's about Ramadan stories. It's very interesting because it's powerful. Stories works well, and stories are really good, also really useful also for example, media relations. So if you collect many stories, you can think also to use them for media relation, for example, to talk about your organization, or to make an editorial content, you know, for your website and for an event, of course. So, and another thing of Ramadan stories is that it's easy to replicate and it's easy to collect because it's potentially infinite. So you can potentially collect 1,000 stories because it's also something common. Everyone can experience, you know, the Ramadan and has its own point of view or has its stories, and it could be also very powerful if you also can collect photos if people want to. So, dear readers, we are thrilled to introduce you to Ramadan Stories, a new weekly series we have been working on to show how Ramadan is celebrated in each house. So, with this kind of column, you do two things at the same time. You create stories, you create connection with your community, and also you educate your community, showing integration, showing how you live, you could live Ramadan, for example, in this kind in Spanish, in different Spanish cities. So you do information, you do education, and you create community. So you'll be able to read Ramadan stories once a week to our Facebook page. Each story will narrate how Muslims around the world follow their tradition and beliefs during this festivity, giving other people the chance to find some of their own experience reflected in these stories. If I have to be perfectionist, it could be useful at the end of the post to make a call to action to say, if you want to send your stories, write us in direct messages or write us to this email, because maybe I'm really excited, I read that and I want to take part. And so you have to make it easy. If you make it easy, you have more chance that people take part to your initiatives. The other column is about influential people, and I like it a lot. So it was about Muslim people who have or had a great impact in the community. So every week a post about influencer Muslim would be uploaded on Facebook. The impact of these people have created is not only within religion, but with the community. So you inspire and you educate at the same time. This series of weekly posts will have a brief introduction of the person and why she is considered influential in the community. Really good. So it's a really important things, because of course, as you write yourself, this post would be a good opportunity to getting closer to Muslim and the relation with the community, and also to inspire youth to do the same or to do better, we hope. So, and also we create, that is the great challenge of social media. We create a valuable content. We give something. We create stories. It's not just a transposition of what you do offline, but you create a digital value. So there is a specific value to follow online. Here there is the statement, which is really good. Just one thing, I think it would be possible to change is this part. I find maybe a little bit rude to talk about the target, because target, it's a very technical word, and maybe people want to be treated like people and not like target. I know the sense. I can understand the sense why you write the target. Maybe if I am the target, I don't want to be the target. I want to be just part of something. And here there is the short one, which was really good. And I try to give a further suggestion, rewriting it with the same words. I've just changed the approach, and I make an example. No? The first was ACD La Jolla in Spanish Cultural and Sport Association is based on principle of cooperation, integration, environment protection, solidarity, humanity, and universal human values, and promotes an environment in which the community will be able to create, think, realize their ideas, and build a position and reaction on important issues. The organization is divided in 4 areas: sport, art, youth, and center. It's a suggestion. We believe in the power of connecting people together. We are ACD La Jolla, Spanish Cultural and Sport Association, based there is a typo, on the principle of cooperation, integration, environment protection, solidarity, humanity, and universal human values, and we promote an environment in which the community will be able to create, think, realize their ideas, and build position and reaction on important issues. And then that's the only thing I really add to that. Discover more about our reality. We have 4 different areas: sport, art, youth, center, and Europe at the link. So it's another way to say the areas that your association is about, but with a more practical approach. You say, this is the area because you can apply to them. And here there is a link to discover more. So we create traffic to our website. Never forget to create traffic. Not every time, but sometimes, yes. And here is the end of Ramadan. It was very interesting because, as you can say, talks about what Ramadan means, and that, of course, not all culture lived the Ramadan in the same way. It opened a new debate. It's very interesting. And so maybe it could be an idea after this post to make many posts about the difference of how you can live the Ramadan in different countries, following the idea of Ramadan stories. So it could be a follow-up. And then there is the post for the event, which was perfect. Just one tip. It was perfect. It starts with a quote, a very strong quote from a very important person. So it immediately grabs the attention also from people maybe who are not directly addressed from your association. Because what I'm reading, I want to read more and to know more. And so at the end, you write the information about the event. So it was perfect. Very, very, very good done. Another tip, just to be a perfectionist and to give you another suggestion or a point of reflection. When you do an event, it could be useful to make lead generation, or just to increase the engagement, offering a free content. What? For example, a video of the speech that no, the personality make at the event, for example, or a practical guidelines to the topic. I don't know if you make on a workshop, for example, about permit of residence. Then you can create with all the speech and all the speaker material. You can create a little PDF that contains all the practical advice, and then you can say you can download the PDF by leaving your email, for example, or giving it for free through your newsletter, or just putting on your Facebook and for the download, for example, or maybe a report if you have presented, for example, a work in terms of numbers and this kind of stuff, because it will be also a chance to connect directly with your community, because you give something for free, and so you establish a connection, and then you ask you can ask in return their email. And you also can interact with journalists, for example, if you make a report. A report could be useful to write an article based on your work and on certified data and on your point of view on the topic, which is really life-changing, I think, in Europe, to give other words and a more inclusive and more responsible approach about integration, you know. So it would be really, really interesting also as an activist. So I will give you, of course, this file of your work. I will not take it just for me. And moreover, if you have any questions about your work and what are you doing with Open, and of course, I'm at your disposal. And you can contact Chiara, or you can contact me with Chiara in allegation. So I'm at your disposal. And I want to really thank you for doing this course together, and to have chosen me, and to have follow me in this little path we have did. I know that the course was very intense, because we talk about many important things in not so much time. And I hope the slides and the PowerPoints will be useful for you to study more, to understand more. If you have any curiosity you want to deepen, you can also ask me. I don't know if I can share with you, I don't know, articles or things you like most, for example, about a specific content of the course, and I will be happy to give you any further material. And so also I want to thank Open for choosing me, and for the opportunity of be your little guide in this journey. So also really thank you, Chiara, for your professionality and your presence. Thank you, everybody.